To stray. There we go. So that's what I didn't do last time. Hello. Hey, Gavin. I'm just messing around with StreamYard at the moment because I did a broadcast before. It didn't go up properly, so I'm just making sure that it's just almost like a bit of a test thing, really. And I thought I'd say a big hello to any geeks who are out there who wanted to have a little chat. I'm not going to be on here for that long, really, but happy Sunday. What are you up to, Gavin, today? Big shout out to Fandom Collective. Yeah, that's running properly, that is. Big shout out to Red 5. Happy Sunday, folks. Yeah, no, just kind of a bit chilling, relaxing Sunday evening here. Watched a bit of the football earlier, which was a good game. Good game, Arsenal, Man United. I'm an Aston Villa fan, but I did dip in and out of the game, and it was a very good match. Very good match. I think Arsenal I think they might win the league, which is unreal. A few years ago, we would never imagine that Arsenal would get anywhere near the title. I think they might win the league. Sports and football, it's a great thing. I'm gonna see if okay, Gavin, you bless your heart, my friend. Don't forget to smash the like button. Very good. So, bless your heart, Gavin. Bless your heart. Thanks, mate. So, just some thoughts. The Mandalorian trailer, the new Mando trailer's come out, and I'm just thinking, it looks quite good. It'll be season 3 of The Mandalorian. And guys, if you're watching this stream, a lot of you probably watch the stream after it's finished. It's not going to be a long stream. What are your thoughts on the new Mandalorian season 3 trailer? It does seem like he's going to go to Mandalore, and he wants to reclaim his honor. And then there was that one scene where there's a lot of Jedi about to fight some Sith Lord. Now, there's been, talk on the internet of, is it someone that's, or is it another villain that's brand new, that is from the extended universe, that's not being instantiated on television or Star Wars films? Is it some kind of retcon of a villain? Like, what are they doing? It's going to be an interesting one. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's very interesting because obviously the Mandalorian, they've had to really rely on cameos. In season 2, they relied a lot on cameos. Season 1 didn't really have those cameos so much. I don't remember. There was little bits here and there, but there was nothing really that major. It was more season 2 where they went heavy on the cameos, and we all loved it. I was all over it. And I have to say, I am looking forward to Mandalorian season 3. I was looking forward to the Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett obviously was mixed. It had really good episodes, and then he had episodes where the dude was swinging around for no reason and did a spinny dance, and so it's that sort of thing. I hope they work it out with the budgeting, because I think even with the Book of Boba Fett and even with the Obi-Wan TV show, there seemed to be a big fluctuation of quality on the episodes. So some episodes seemed quite low budget and not quite the quality you'd think you would associate with Disney Lucasfilm. And then some episodes seemed to be bang on, right on the money, where they seem to have spent a lot of money on the episode. The effects look good. The sort of the world building looked really on point. It looked proper. It was expansive storytelling. You could tell that they've really gone to town on the episode. So what's one of the things I'm really hoping for is for the Mandalorian season 3 to be quite balanced in terms of not having like so many weak episodes and then 2 or 3 weak episodes and then 1 or 2 really strong episodes. And it's the same with the Ahsoka show. Obviously, we've got Mandalorian, we've got the Ahsoka show looking forward to. I think both of them are going to be this year. So it's having that, I think, balance of having, yes, obviously some episodes, you probably expect that the penultimate episode and then the season finale would be the most lavish episodes where you've got the most budget on it, the most amount of extras on there, the best special effects on there, or the biggest set designs on them. You'd expect that, but not the big fluctuation where one episode or 2 episodes are quite inferior and not having the same sort of quality, and then the last then a few episodes that are really quite good. There needs to be a better balance, I think. So that is my thing now, is what I would say on that. Obviously not having Gina Carano's Cara Dune is not great. I think they're just going to go with that. They're not going to have Cara Dune in the show. They could have recast Cara Dune, although a lot of fans of the Mandalorian are Gina Carano fans, and that's a bit of a weird one, really, for me. I mean, they'll get round it because there's other great characters in it. Mandalorian isn't the Gina Carano show, but Gina is a strong personality, and Cara Dune is a really good character. Whether you agree with Gina Carano's politics or not, the character itself was a good character and a strong female character, competent, who essentially didn't rely on a male. When you talk about characters that rely on the male gaze, she wasn't dependent on a man or male for her autonomy. So she was a strong, dominant female character, essentially an alpha female. You would have thought Disney would be looking to protect that character because it was a strong character. Now, like I say, there are other strong characters in the Mandalorian show, so it's not only high six feeder. So it's not only dependent on Cara Dune, Gina Carano's character. There are other strong characters on there, but we'll look to see, because obviously, at the end of the day, if you've got a character like Cara Dune, who is a strong female character, then you've got to have more strong female characters. Now, I know there are other characters on there that you can bring in a bit more. So but once again, you're going to have to bring in a few characters. But I am looking forward to Mandalorian. I think it'll be good. But like I say, I just want them to try and nail it with the budgeting, not to have episodes like the Book of Boba Fett, and like the Obi-Wan show, where some episodes were very ordinary or seemed to be almost like there's not really much budget there. The quality of the episodes in terms of the production value wasn't on point. and then other episodes are really good, and it's like, oh, they've probably had 2 or 3 episodes that haven't spent much money, and then they've saved it for these episodes at the end. I don't like it when there's that sort of almost imbalance of the quality. I want the continuity of quality throughout the production of the show. I am realistic. I do expect that the penultimate episode and the final episode will have the best amount of special effects and the sort of the depth of it and the expansiveness will be they'll ramp it up a few notches. I understand that, but I just think now the quality I think for Disney Lucasfilm now with Ahsoka show and with Mandalorian season 3, and and obviously there's going to be an Andor season 2 as well. I think what they need to do now is try and nail down the quality consistency. So I think that having consistency now is a big thing for Disney Lucasfilm with Star Wars going forward. Don't have the fluctuation of quality in the episodes, and if you're going to have a show about a character, try and not deviate too far away from that. That was the issue with the Book of Boba Fett, where we had situations where it turned into a sort of Mandalorian 2.5, and it took away. And even though, and they were the best episodes, probably the best episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, which was an issue. You try and say, if it's going to be the Ahsoka show, let it be the Ahsoka show. And if it's Mandalorian season 3, then let it be Mandalorian season 3. Like, kind of try and don't deviate too far away from it. There's some wiggle room, but don't make it another show, because then you're gonna diminish the protagonist, your main protagonist for the show is. So I felt that in the Book of Boba Fett was diminished a little bit, because as the main protagonist, central protagonist, he was upstaged essentially by the Mandalorian Grogu storyline with Luke Skywalker in the Book of Boba Fett. They were probably the more interesting. That was the more interesting story. So that was a problem with the Ahsoka show and with Mandalorian season 3. Try and do that. The other issue is this as well: how far can you go with the Grogu storyline of the kind of father and his adopted son? It's a lovely story. It's a great story. We all love the Mando Grogu story, but how far can you go with it? Should they have bided their time a little bit with that story? Should they have said, okay, we will get Grogu back with Mando, but not straight away. Maybe do it at the end of season 3. Was it a mistake bringing Grogu and Mando back together so early, even before we get to season 3? Because obviously it happened in the Book of Boba Fett, which is obviously almost like a 2.5 for the Mandalorian. Should they have held that back? Because obviously the emotional resonance that you get from Grogu leaving Mando and going with Luke Skywalker was a big emotional pivotal moment. It was a paradigm shift moment in the narrative for Mandalorian at the end of season 2. To kind of then shift it back almost immediately before you even get to season 3 of Mandalorian seems to be hasty storytelling. Almost like they didn't know what to do, so they set it right back to where it was before, because they didn't know how to kind of conceptually move it forward without Grogu being there. I get it, because Grogu's a big draw, and the relationship and the emotional connection with the fans, Star Wars fans, with that storyline of the father-son, or the kind of adopted father, an adopted son storyline, is a really, really good story. Hey, LDG, hello, my friend. How are you doing? Big wave to you. Oh, I've got a question as well from Coolest Rob. How you doing, Coolest Rob? So let me put that up as well. Thanks for being on this stream as well, LDG. Thanks for a big wave and hello. Coolest Rob, I'll put on your question. Here we go. Do you think that Grogu becoming such an iconic character, not only in regards to a relationship with Mando, but for merchandise and with younger generations? That's why. Yeah, that's Coolest Rob. That's a good point. I agree. That's a good point. I think if you were being, I don't know if you say being cynical, but if you're saying that, okay, there's more, there's more. Okay, so this is the thing: having characters there that are there more for merchandise, more for a monetary value, that don't necessarily push the story forward. That's not a new thing. We can't blame you can't blame Kathleen Kennedy for that. You can't say, "Oh, that's Kathleen Kennedy's fault," and she can't doesn't know how to run Lucasfilm, and that's all her. That type of thinking's always prevailed. It's always been there in movies, especially it's been there in Star Wars. Look at the thing with the Ewoks. In the Return of the Jedi, it was like, did they really add that much to the story? Were they pivotal? They were there for a value to kind of think, okay, we could potentially push Ewok toys. That we could push Ewok. I think there was a kind of, it wasn't just a case of, okay, just they just there to serve the story. I think that in Hollywood, and it's not a new thing in Hollywood. It's not like a kind of reinventing the wheel. There will be characters in there that are for merchandise, and I think Grogu to a degree is that. I think they played it safe because obviously Grogu is from the same race of beings as Yoda. So in that sense, they played on a character that they knew is already beloved. They played on the archetype of Yoda, and because Yoda's already so beloved in the Star Wars franchise, a young baby version of Yoda is quite compelling, because we meet Yoda as an old man. We don't know his race in their being very young, certainly not as a baby. And so in that respect, they played it quite safe. They were clever there. They were very clever, actually. And I think in season 1, the Grogu and Mando relationship is really good. I think it works well in the story of season 1. And I think you're right, though, Rob, that I think, it does appeal to younger generations. I think that's true. Very much in the same way George Lucas tried in Star Wars Episode 1, where you've got Jar Jar Binks, you've got a young Anakin Skywalker, and you've got loads of wacky aliens that could appeal to kids, to youth, to younger generation. And if Episode 1 was a better film, I know there's some people who love Episode 1 and probably say, "Oh, well, yeah, there's issues with Episode 1, but it's better than anything Kathleen Kennedy's come out with when it comes to Star Wars films," and that's probably got a decent point. Although I think Revenge of the Sith was the best film that came under the George Lucas film from the prequel era. But I will say this: there was lots of stuff in Episode 1, like Jar Jar Binks, like the Gungans and things like that, that were aimed at a younger audience, and in a sense, it worked in drawing younger audiences in. So yes, you will get characters like Grogu that will be there for the storyline to a degree, but also there will be folks that are kind of, who work for Disney Lucasfilm, that will be thinking, right, this character, we can merchandise this character, we can get the t-shirts on, we can get the toys, we can get him on we can put him on posters, we can get him on a video game, we can get him on a Grogu on this, Grogu on that. And how many, if you look around now for Mandalorians, how much merchandise is there? How many Mandalorian merchandise? I mean, even just merchandise that's just Grogu by himself. There's a lot of it. My wife's got Grogu pajamas. That's how much of a geek my wife is now because of me being married to me. Mrs. Christian Fandom Geek has Grogu pajamas. You can buy Grogu pajamas. You can buy the Grogu t-shirts. You can buy Grogu posters. I'm sure, gosh, they'll eventually give Grogu his own spin-off TV show. You never know. It might even there might even be a spin-off Grogu movie. You just don't know. There's got to be a balance between how much you're balancing the merchandise aspect of things and how much you don't want to compromise your story, and you don't want it to just look like a throwaway character who is shallow and has no depth or has no real substance to it as a character. So far, I think Grogu has substance to him and has likability. It's a cute character, and it's quite compelling to find out what happened to him, and he's gone for a hard time, so you can empathize with Grogu in a major way. That's really important. Um, but if they keep pushing it beyond season 3 to if he is in season 4 or season 5, depending on how long they want to push him under, I don't think they'll go beyond season 5 necessarily, but we'll see. Then there could actually be issues in terms of that Grogu's not really doing much in the story. That's why I was thinking it might have been better from a long-term story point of view, vantage point, to have Grogu stay with Luke Skywalker for a bit longer and then bring him back after a little bit of a gap. Then you've then built a scenario where when Grogu and Mando reunite, as the audience, it has emotional resonance with us because it's like they've been away from each other for most of a season or maybe even the whole season. When they come back and united, we're overjoyed because we feel, oh my gosh, it really has in real world time felt like it's been ages since they've been together. So that was where I'd go with that one. Coolest, Rob. I think I've answered your question on that. And Free the Nets, give me a howdy. LDG. Howdy, my friend. Howdy to all you guys from the USA. Big love to Fandom Collective. Big love to Red 5 Network. Let me go on to Coolest Rob. You've got another question, I think, for me. If you could choose a character star in a way Grogu was a baby Yoda for the franchise to make it fun and enjoyable to the fans, who or what would you choose? Ooh. The difficulty there, Coolest Rob, is this. I think when you start taking a character and say, okay, give me a baby version of it, like they've done with Grogu, Grogu's the archetypal baby version of Yoda. If you keep doing that, you start to look like a one-trick pony. And as much as Star Wars is a monolith, some of the themes will be themes that you see over and over again in the different films and even within the different TV shows because they're intrinsic to the narrative of Star Wars, like Jedi, like Sith, lightsabers, various ships that are kind of quite similar, made slightly different design, but you get a sort of archetypal feel to what type of ship it is. Certain sequences will play out in different movies. There's slight variations of the theme, but you'll get like, oh, that's similar to this. That reminds me of that. That's okay. When you start doing characters, essentially with characters, it's like this. You want new and fresh characters, but you want them to be relatable to the Star Wars universe. So it's the balance of having new characters that are fresh, that are interesting, that are characters you want to get to know, you want to follow them on their narrative, you want to follow their journey, but you want them to also be able to fit in with the existing Star Wars universe. Because if the characters are too weird and don't fit in with Star Wars at all, it's gonna look weird, and fans are not gonna accept it, or they're just gonna be like, no, this doesn't. Something's not quite right with that. Which is some of the issues you got with, say, like a Rey Skywalker, where it was like Rey is like in one level, it's like, oh yeah, it's a good storyline. She's like she's out there, and she's a scavenger girl, and she's on Jakku, and she's got an interesting story. Like, how did she get there? Why is she by herself? Where are her family? Where are her parents? There's a good story in there. Same as Finn in the sequel trilogy. Stormtrooper turned defector, turned resistance fighter, and then you could have they should have followed through and made him a Jedi, or at least showed him as a Force user, actually properly using the Force. So if you think about it, we already had Rey and Finn that are new characters that really should have been for our generation. They're nothing like a baby Yoda character, but they're new, fresh characters in the sequel trilogy. And Disney, Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, and Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams didn't really get the best out of those characters. They had characters that were quite interested in The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens wasn't a perfect film, but it was a good enough film to actually say, okay, you built a platform on that. It's a half decent film. It's a decent film. You've got a lot of potential in movie 2 and movie 3 to really do something great with the sequel trilogy, and they couldn't do it. So if you're making characters that are fun and enjoyable, and you want them to be potentially having a link to the old Star Wars films or movies, you just got to be careful how you do it. You want to balance off something new and fresh, but it's got to make sense within Star Wars lore, canon, the kind of in-world logic of Star Wars. Rey Skywalker being so powerful in the Force without training seems to kind of go against, the fact that she could beat Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens seemed to go against logic and seemed to go against the mechanism, the mechanics, the physics of the Star Wars lore and canon and how Star Wars works in films. It just seems, and some people say, well, yes, but if you read the novelization of the The Force Awakens or something like that, then let me put your next one up there. If you read the novelization, it explains it in the novelization. Well, this is the thing. Should you have to read the books, the novelization of the film, to understand the film more? No, of course, the novelization of Star Wars films, when you get the books coming out, of course they will give you more information on the story as a whole, but key information should be in the films. You shouldn't have to be like guessing or having to kind of think, okay, the novelization explains the whole thing. Well, no, if you've wrote it like that, you haven't really made the film in a way, for me, that's kind of doing the story justice or doing the characters justice. Let's have a look here. Do you feel the focus on Mandalorian is the best direction for Mando? Would you like him to explore there's a universe? Well, coolest Rob, I'd probably say for the Mandalorian story, yeah, I think he has to have that connection with other Mandalorians or even the planet Mandalore. Obviously, I know that in the Star Wars animation shows, like there is a lot of, I think, Clone Wars, and even there's other Star Wars projects where they do kind of go into the Mandalorian mythology. So I think fans of the Clone Wars and of these shows that talk about Mandalore would be very disappointed if the Mandalorian TV show doesn't explore the greater mythos of the Mandalorians and bounty hunters and their creed, their religion, their ideology, their philosophy. I think it would be a bigger missed opportunity. Having said that, can you branch off then into other things? I think you can do, but you got to remember the central base is a Mandalorian centric story. If you're exploring other things, do it, but remember your foundation is that it is a Mandalorian universe. So the Mandalorian culture needs to be quite front and center in the project, or else it looks a little bit ad hoc and a little bit weird. Like, you kind of, you're going too far away from the base of what the show actually is. It becomes a bit disingenuous to the actual genre that you're trying to say. It is a Mandalorian universe after all. Hope I've answered that for you, coolest Rob, my friend. Hello, John. Hope you're doing well. Let's have a look there. Thank you for saying it. Thank you for popping onto the stream and saying hello. That's a very good question. I'll have to do my homework on that. You tend to find, Rob, that for most things in Star Wars, because Star Wars is such a big expanded universe, even if there was not really anything based on Grogu or based on Yoda initially, in the expanded universe, books and comics and even the TV shows, that will all get filled in. So yes, I think there is going to be like a planet that where they come from. I'm not going to be um, go go too sort of much into that right now because I'd need to brush up on my knowledge on that. But I think that yes, I think that's a yes, and I'm pretty sure that some clever Star Wars geek who watches this stream, will leave a comment in the comment section and we'll say what it is. But I'll do my homework. I can do my homework on that as well. But it's a good question though. There will be he'll have his planet for he'll have a planet for that. But like I say, it's I need to brush up on my Yoda / Grogu history within the extended universe of Star Wars. Let's have a look. Call this from my friend. My favorite species. I do like the robots in Star Wars. If I'm being honest, I'm a big fan. And obviously, we don't really think of them as a species because they're synthetic. They're not natural. But I do enjoy. I think within the Star Wars storytelling, that includes animation, that includes films and TV shows and video games. Actually, the robots, the synthetic life forms, tend to be some of the best ways of. They tend to tell the stories well when they use them. So, but if you're talking sort of a natural things, sort of alien species kind of thing, I do like the Wookiees, especially when they're used properly. Like in Revenge of the Sith, I enjoyed seeing like quite a few of the Wookiees together, and obviously they were fighting against the kind of separatists, and I enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty cool. And rather than just being just Chewbacca one Wookiee, it was nice to see like a kind of a whole troop of them. I haven't seen loads of them on their planet Kashyyyk. It was that was a lot of fun. So they seeing them collectively, I think they would be one of my favorite ones. I'm thinking there's probably others that I really like, but I think they, probably I'm showing my age of being into the kind of the original trilogy was where I came to Star Wars, and the old jokes of Chewbacca being a walking carpet and all that sort of stuff. I think that was a lot of fun. And his relationship with Han Solo, I enjoyed. I enjoyed the Han Chewie relationship. And how he came and how Chewie was protective of a Princess Leia. I really enjoyed that as well. So I think that would be something that would be my favorite one, I think. But there'll be others. If I think about it, there'll be other species. Let's have a look. Would you ever Mando to get a crewmate that's a Wookiee like? Interesting question. You could do it. That could be done. I think it could be done. They'd probably get accused of copying other Star Wars stuff, though. So it might be problematic to do that. Would Mando work with a Wookiee? I don't know. I'm not sure because we've got Grogu. Because Mando is quite a masculine character. I don't know if it would work that well. I think with Han Solo, because even though Han could be strong, he's not like Mando. Mando's like a kind of quite dominant character, whereas Han Solo's more. He was a very strong protagonist, but he was that kind of, because of his banter, because of his nature with the jokes he would tell. The comedy aspect of Han Solo and Chewie worked. They would have a lot of banter together. And I think, I don't know if you could have that banter with Mando in the same way that you'd have with a Han Solo type of character. So you've got to, if you're having someone like a Wookiee, you've got to kind of balance it with somebody who, either the Wookiee's kind of protecting someone, like protective, and he's, kind of almost like a kind of shield or a kind of protector type character, or there's a friendship there and they have banter together. Han Solo as a kind of a rogue type character, lovable rogue archetype, work really well with Chewbacca, I think. So you have to be careful. Whoever you're pairing Mando up with, you have to be careful with that one. Whoever you're pairing him up with, I think. But that's a good question, though. Very good question. So, guys, that was a bit of geek talk on that one now. And I think that will be a good place to end this mini broadcast. I hope you guys are having a happy Sunday. If you're playing this stream after it's finished, please smash the like button, share it with friends and family, and I hope that you're keeping well and safe in the times we're living in. And I'll be back with you again very soon. Thank you, my friend, Corliss Rob. Corliss Rob, we'll have to link up, my friend, very soon. We'll have to link up again very soon, my mate. Thank you for your very good questions. There's some interesting questions on this little stream, so I appreciate that. And I'll be again with you guys. I'll be with you again very soon on Christian Fandom Geek Productions. God bless you and have a happy Sunday.